Welcome back. I'm Uncle Rob. In part one, we talked about why 95% of those who fail the CELPIP fail the CELPIP listening section. Now, in part two, we're getting into the practical strategies that will completely change how you approach the test. The mental shift is the key. It's a difference between failing with great English and passing with a smart strategy. So how do we do it? Okay, let's get to the practical stuff. You need to become a detective. And remember I said you're going to be a hunter. Your hunt begins when you hear the first word. Many times when you look at CELPIP in the audio section, before they give you the audio, they might give you a word or a line that gives you context of what's coming up. For instance, if the word was landlord, you've got a few seconds before CELPIP test starts speaking. So during those few seconds, quickly go with your mind. Okay, landlord. In Canada, what do landlords and tenants talk about? Well, they talk about clearing the snow out of the driveways. They talk about late rent, leaky faucets, rent increases, noise complaints, other repairs, what have you, leases maybe. So try to come up with a little bit of a mental list for yourself, and then you'll be prepared going in to the question when it's actually read to you. And don't just glance at that sentence. You really need to focus on that sentence and get your brain working, priming for action. Okay. Now, also, when you look at the questions, scan the keywords. Are they asking who, what, where, or why in those questions for the test? So those are prompts. So make sure you pay attention to those key questions so that you can zero in and direct your answers accordingly. Let's use another example. Let's say the conversation, we'll use the landlord case again, but let's say it's about a conversation regarding a cottage rental. And the booking was canceled by the landlord. So right then you have to think, okay, why would a landlord cancel a good renter from renting their cottage? So maybe you think, well, maybe there's a storm that knocked out the power of cottages in the Muskokas, or maybe the cottage burned down, or maybe the plumbing exploded, or maybe the landlord made a mistake and double booked, and you don't get to use it because he promised it to somebody else. So think about that before the question is read aloud to you. It will help prime you to zero in on the answers that the questions are asking. Okay. Signpost words. Any good hunter doesn't get lost in the woods. They follow the signs. And for CELPIP, your signs are signpost words. Now, they are typically words like however, but, therefore, so, actually, for example, firstly, secondly. And when you hear one of those words, you got to perk right up. You got to, ooh, guess why? Because the answer is coming next. So an example might be, We're all going to go camping at Algonquin Park for a long weekend. We had the tent, the food, everything was packed. However, the car wouldn't start. Or, however, I was sick. See, usually what a sentence will look for will follow a word like however. And it tells you, the word however tells you that something's about to change. And questions often talk about a different change in an environment or in a situation. Another word we can try this way. Try the word but. Say somebody's giving directions. They say, you can take the 401 Highway Express all the way to the airport, but maybe it's 5 o'clock and the traffic is busy. Or, but there's construction on the road and there's going to be delays and you might miss your plane. See, the but usually talks about something that you really should have paid attention to and should really know. It will help you pay attention to those signpost words I meant, because the answer to questions often follow again right after. Listen first, write second. One of the fastest ways to burn out your brain is to try to listen and write at the same time. I've seen people trying to do this constantly, thousands of times. And people try to write down full sentences and they're going, oh, and their head is down, the pen's flying. And meanwhile, while they're writing these sentences, the audio is speaking quicker than you can write. The audio has moved ahead and moved on without you. And you missed the key point of the audio. So don't do this. It's a recipe for, excuse me, it's a recipe for disaster. Now, I'm going to tell you the solutions here. You need to separate the tasks when you're listening. Remember, first task, of course, is listen. But second, after that, I need you to take quick, tiny notes. Keywords of what you're listening. Keywords, symbols, abbreviations, and that's it. Just things that'll help jog your memory so that when it comes time to answer the questions, you have the information there. So let's use an example. Let's say the audio says, the package was supposed to be delivered Tuesday morning, but it was delayed by the snowstorm. Now, you don't write that sentence. The package was supposed to be delivered on Tuesday morning, but it was delayed because of the snowstorm. It's long and takes too much time. Just jot down some key points of that sentence. So you write down PKG for package, and maybe hyphen Tuesday AM for Tuesday morning, and hyphen delayed snow. That's it. Now you got the gist of that little bit. So when it comes time to answer a question, you're ready. Let's use another. I like to use nice, good Canadian examples because CELPIP is a Canadian test. So if you can use our Canadian culture, you're going to do better. So let's look at a Tim Hortons example. I love Tim Hortons. And I get no money from Tim Hortons. I give them money, so don't worry. But here's a Canadian one. Okay. Let's say someone's ordering at Tim Hortons and says, yeah, I'll get a large black coffee, 2 sugars. Oh, and a toasted bagel, everything on it with butter. Say, oh, actually, you know what? Make that a double instead of coffee. And your note should not be that whole story of what I just said. Just write down. Remember the first person said, large black, 2 sugar. And then change their mind to double double. So go LGBLK, 2S for 2 sugar, arrow, BD, double double. That's it. You've got the information right here. Large, black, 2 sugar, change to double double instead. I didn't talk about the bagel, but you can say everything bagel with butter. So you go, everything bagel, butter, if you want to do. Okay. But see that by doing those quick notes, it frees up your brain so you can keep listening. And while doing that, you're still capturing the critical data in order. So learn how to take notes that way. If these strategies are starting to make sense to you and you're having a little aha moment, do your old Uncle Rob a favor, please. Hit that like button. Please subscribe. I don't want you missing the next video if this is helping. And in the comments below, let me know what your CLB score is. Are you a 5? Are you a 7? Are you a 9? I like to know where you're at. Sometimes it helps me in how I write these videos and gear them to the skill level that can make the most sense and help to everybody. That's part 2. In part 3, we're going to cover real Canadian English, reductions, how to beat the distractors. So subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll see you in part 3.